When it comes to learning languages, I don't make the rules, but if I did, the first rule would be you need to have a language exchange partner. In case you don't know already, a language exchange partner is someone with whom you exchange languages. Also sometimes called a conversation exchange partner because the basis of this exchange is usually around conversations. More specifically, this exchange is typically your native language for their native language. So whatever your native language is, you should find someone who wants to learn that language, but who is also a native speaker of the language that you want to learn. When learning a new language, if your goal is effective communication, having conversation, speaking with someone and actually using the language is kind of like the most important thing you can do. And of course, without a doubt, I recommend hiring a tutor on a website like italki to help you with your language learning journey. In addition to conversation practice, tutors can help you with your grammar, your pronunciation, and pointing out your specific mistakes to help your English or whatever language you're learning get better. But when it comes to learning languages, I think it's a numbers game. The more hours you spend speaking and listening in English, the quicker you will reach fluency. So maybe you could only hire a tutor once or twice a week, but with a language exchange partner, if you guys enjoy talking to each other, you could talk for hours a week, which will without a doubt help you improve your English or whatever language you're learning even faster. Another benefit is hearing your language partner make mistakes in your native language. Let me explain. I remember when I was learning Spanish, for some reason, I just felt very self-conscious with my Spanish tutor. Like, I just really didn't want him to hear me make mistakes. And I think that's because we basically always spoke in Spanish, and so I never heard him make any grammatical mistakes in any language. So I guess in my mind, he was like a perfect speaker, and so I felt like I needed to be too. But then when it came to speaking with my language exchange partners, I heard them speak English and make mistakes all the time, and I was helping them with their English by correcting those mistakes. So then when I was speaking Spanish with them, it really didn't bother me at all to make mistakes. I felt totally free to just speak however I wanted to, and that really helped me with my fluency because I was able to speak without thinking. Whatever came to my mind just came out of my mouth because I didn't feel embarrassed with them. So that's one of the main benefits of a language exchange partner. It's a very non-threatening, friendly environment, so you can feel free to speak freely without worrying about any mistakes you might make. Another benefit is that while your language exchange partner won't necessarily be a tutor in the language that you're learning, chances are they will help you by correcting your mistakes because they know what it's like to be a language learner, and surely they'll probably want you to correct their mistakes in your native language as well. Also, when you're speaking with a native speaker, just naturally you're going to end up learning about the culture of the place of the language that you're learning. So if you're learning English and your language exchange partner is a native speaker from the US, you can ask them questions about what it's like to live in the US, what kind of things are normal and not normal there. How are things different from where you live? I think that learning about the culture of the country or countries where the language that you're learning is spoken is really important when it comes to language learning. It also makes it very interesting and keeps you really motivated to keep talking to your language partner and keep learning. So I've talked about talking. When you're speaking with your language exchange partner, you'll spend a lot of time talking in your target language, and that will help you with your speaking abilities. But it's also really beneficial for you to hear the other person speaking, especially if they talk to you in a natural way, with the same kind of speed and rhythm that they would use when speaking with another native speaker. This helps tune your ear to the sound of the language and the way that people speak in real life. I think that a common pitfall when it comes to learning a language is getting stuck in the beginner stage, thanks to depending on apps like Duolingo to help you practice. To any loyal Duolingo supporters out there, I'm sorry, but I am not a fan. Let me tell you why. If you've been learning languages for a while, you have probably seen the memes about the kind of useless phrases that Duolingo makes you learn. And the thing I've noticed about Duolingo is it makes you drill these kind of beginner level words over and over and over. Like when you're a beginner learning a language, there's really only a certain number of times you need to see the words boy, girl, bread, water before it's time to just move on. Personally, I think that the time spent on these kind of applications, you could achieve the same kind of results or even better results with spending maybe half of that time just speaking with a language exchange partner. Language exchange partners are going to talk to you like a person, not a robot or an application, and you're going to end up talking about things that normal people talk about together. Anytime you come across a word that you don't know, your language exchange partner tells you the word and boom, you've acquired new vocabulary, and even better yet, you acquired that vocabulary in context, so you will always have the memory connected to that word, which will help you remember it forever. Also, memorizing words by using repetitive applications is super boring, but having fun conversations with cool people is super awesome, so language exchange partners are the way to go. Also, as I mentioned, if you're lucky, you can meet and connect with some really cool people who have a lot of things in common with you. And those people can end up becoming your friends, even outside of the benefit you give to each other about exchanging languages. Okay, so enough about the benefits. Where can you find a language exchange partner? In my personal experience, I found my language exchange partners in two places. italki and Facebook. Back in the day, I guess maybe 2 years ago, italki used to have a specific language exchange partner function, but unfortunately they got rid of that option. So you can still use italki to find a tutor or teacher, which I still highly recommend that you do, but it's not so easy to use it to find a language exchange partner anymore. You can still make posts and engage with people in the community and maybe find someone that way, but it doesn't seem very easy to me. So let's look at some other options that are more up to date. As I mentioned, I found one of my other language exchange partners on Facebook. I don't really use Facebook a lot for personal use, let's say, but I really like the groups on Facebook. I like to join groups that are related to things that I'm interested in and interact with people in those groups. So when I started learning Spanish, I don't remember exactly what group it was, but I searched something like English-Spanish language exchange or English-Spanish learning, and I joined a group related to that, and that's how I met one of my other language exchange partners. That option can be just a little bit difficult because on Facebook, I feel like sometimes you're casting a very wide net. So it might be hard to find exactly the kind of person you're looking for, but you can definitely do it. Another option is using an app. The ones that I know about are Tandem and HelloTalk. When I was looking for language exchange partners in Spanish, I didn't really use these apps, so I don't have any personal experience with them. But I do know about them, and so I've recommended them to my students. From the feedback my students have given me, it seems like they've had luck with the app HelloTalk. In fact, my friend, who once was my English-Spanish language exchange partner, now he's learning Russian, and he said that he was able to find someone to practice Russian with on HelloTalk really easily. Another one of my students downloaded HelloTalk after I recommended it to him, and he's had a great experience on it. He told me about a lot of the features it has, and it sounds really cool. Not only can you find a language exchange partner, but it seems like they have scheduled group conversation practice and all kinds of other stuff that could help you. At this point, I also want to take a moment to mention that your language exchange partner preferably should be a native speaker of the language you're learning, but they don't have to be. The reason it's preferable that they be a native speaker is because you can listen to how they pronounce words and then mimic them, and that will help you with your pronunciation in the language you're learning. But let's take English for example. Lots of people on these kind of apps are not native speakers, but they have a pretty high level of English and they just want to speak with other people in order to maintain their English. Even if they're not a native speaker, any opportunity that you have to practice your spoken English is an opportunity you should take. The more time you spend speaking, the better you'll be at speaking. Finally, you can look for a language exchange partner on Reddit, or Meetup, or any kind of language group in your area. Or really, you can find a language exchange partner however you want. All you need is to find someone who speaks the language you want to speak and who wants to learn the language that you speak, and there you go. Okay, so you found your language exchange partner. Now what? How do you make the most of this experience? As I said in the beginning, this is a numbers game. The more hours you spend speaking your target language, the better you will become. I recommend that you schedule a recurring meeting once a week. So that could be you agree to talk for an hour and a half every Thursday on Google Meet or Zoom or whatever video calling app you use. But that's just the minimum. You have your weekly recurring meeting for an hour, hour and a half every week. But then every time you find yourself with a little spare time, you should text your language exchange partner and say, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to talk? And if they have time, practice your language skills. If you really click with them as friends, these conversations will be really fun anyways, so you can just have fun and practice your language skills nearly every day. Maybe they won't always have time for a video call, but you can send voice notes or text messages and just stay in contact and practice both languages. You can also set an expectation of how much correction you expect. If you're a perfectionist and constructive criticism doesn't hurt your feelings, let them know. Let them know you want them to correct all of the mistakes they hear, or at least as many as they can. You can then take that opportunity to ask them what they expect of you. You don't want to be correcting someone all the time if maybe that's not what they're looking for and they're just looking to have relaxed conversations without worrying about their mistakes. That's why it's a good idea to ask. In conclusion, no matter what language you're learning, finding a language exchange partner is a great resource to help you improve your speaking and listening skills, to learn about the culture of the place where that language is spoken, and to make friends. Please comment below if you have any other recommendations for where to find language exchange partners, or if you have any fun personal stories about your own experiences meeting people to exchange languages. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up to help me with the YouTube algorithm. I make videos about learning English, learning Spanish, languages in general, and you should subscribe to my channel. Thanks, and see you next time.